Hello everyone, I've got some good news and I've got some great news. First of all, the time, space and motion indicator is now complete for MetaTrader 5. I haven't released it yet, but I have finished it. So I'm going to check how to release these indicators on the MetaQuotes page for MetaTrader 5. So you'd be able to use it and see how you go with it. What does that do? Well, as you can see here, really, those of you who know me from before are familiar with this indicator. This indicator will give you where the market is highly likely to go and touch, and where the market is likely to take their first profit or target a level and reverse and sell off. So if you have a direction, it'll give you the support. Let's say your direction bias is to the upside, it will give you a price where to buy. It'll be based on this, okay? And it'll also give you, let's check out the weekly, for example, right? As you can see here, it'll give you a place to buy. That's 36, as you can see, and that was a price of 1375, and the low, let's see what the low was of that. Let's see. The low was 1.1391. Okay, so on the weekly, just basically scraped off. And then we have this line as well. This is called HCL1. You can see HCL1, and that was a price of 1.1402. So there were two prices to buy on the weekly, one on that thin salmon color line and one on the blue line, 1402. And like I said, here the market bought at the low at 1391. All right, so what you need to do then, you got that price zone, okay, because there are two lines there, right? And then all you have to do is, because that's a weekly chart, is it a trade day, is it a trade hour? If it is, yo, let's nail it. So this is like really important, because it will give you the daily and the monthly. And the beautiful thing is, really beautiful, which we didn't have before, but I've programmed it in. The reason I've done it myself is it's difficult to explain to software developers what you're doing, okay, if they don't know your trading and so on. And if you take a look here, right, immediately up here it says daily trend line, it gives you a number, and then it says 1.1431, right? If you're going to buy, you're going to be buying around 1431. Why is my bias to the upside? Because we have a higher closing bar, higher closing, well, higher closing 2 days in a row. Okay, so if that's the case, right, I want to follow up, and PST should give me a price. Now normally when I drew a manual line, I never knew what the price would be, but now the system says, well, okay, listen, you drew a line there and that's a 1431 price. So what I do then is put 1431 somewhere. 1431 is right there, actually. 1431. Now look at 1431 and look at these vertical lines. What are these vertical lines? These vertical lines are the times for Friday. Look at that. 20 past 3, 10 past 5, and 5:45. And look what we have here. This is the opening, right? And this is 2:45, 10 past 3 is here. Why do I have a 2:45 as well when there's no 2:45 here? Because if you come to, it should be on the cycle edge, right? So I should look at Friday. This is Thursday, Friday. Okay, look at this alert window today. Momentum push continuation. When 2:50, from midnight to 2:50, check it out, it's a push continuation. What does that tell me? Well, we're going to push because we pushed yesterday and we pushed the day before yesterday. So when I did the euro dollar video yesterday, I said, guys, it says push, so we want to go with the push, right? And then it's got a trap-like reversal. Now look, now you're going to see what that trap-like reversal is, from 250 to 620. All right, and then I've got a 930 to 1045, another trap-like reversal. They're going to screw everybody over. The beautiful thing is, you know about it in advance. How much in advance? A week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks in advance. Whenever I put the report up, it's going to be from, you know, it'll be the last week of the previous month. You'll get next month's. Okay, so that's beautiful. And then you know all of these beforehand, so you're already up and running, thinking, well, wait a minute, I don't want to be trapped somewhere. And then you got 6:15 to 10 past 9, flash breakout volatility. Oh, we're going to love that. And then we've got a flash breakout again as we get to the closing. So closing is going to be volatile. Now, it's really important here. It's a drain day, right? What does that mean? It means the market is really going to drain itself out. So if it's going to push, it's going to push to its, you know, drained out limit. So here we have to be careful. Why? Because if the market is at a drain mode, if this asset is going to get to a drain mode, then what I want to do is to make sure that I'm following the market nicely according to the hours. So if the market is kind of like drained and then does this big pullback or fall off, then we're all safe. Knowing this in advance is good. Also, drain can mean that we're going to get drained. So we're going to give it the best we got and we're going to get drained out. So know it in advance. That is good for me because now I can follow to the next level. And for me, that's why I got the PST indicator. Now the PST will work anywhere, anytime. Now look what's happening here. If you've taken technical analysis from me, you understand this is a good buy kiss. I closed yesterday's first position. Remember, at 2 positions, I closed it here. Why? Because that's a trade hour. If we're going to have a push and then we're going to have a trap, you don't want to be mucking around here. You want to take your profit here, and if you want to do an intraday trade, you want to sell it off. Where to? Your good buy kiss. Now look again. Good buy kiss and another trade hour. Let's also take a look at cycle edge. What's cycle edge giving me today? As you can see, I'm just going to make this a little bit bigger because my eyesight is absolutely horrific. So let's just make this a little bit bigger. Can I make this a little bit bigger? Okay, here we go. Right, so let's make this a little bit bigger. So as you can see, these are the hours that I've got here. And now an important hour, this 14 way, as you can see, is at 11:25. So I'm checking also the overall hours for the day. Whoops, overall hours for the day. Friday, it's 12:15 to 1:15. And whoops, you stay there. And I also want to check these hours, these alert windows today. They are like absolutely amazing. And it will really help you manage your trade and stay out of stress, because highly likely these will happen. These are high probability situations, and if you're prepared in advance, you don't have to freak out, because the whole idea of timing the trade is so we can trade relaxed. This is why I always say time and price, it will solve every trader's problem, because the majority of our problem is psychological. What's the market going to do? Well, now you know highly likely what it's going to do, at what hours, plus specific hours to enter a trade. I mean, nobody else is obviously going to, nobody else is doing that, right? So because it's a drain day, it's a grey day, so you want to take a look at 11:25, and then you can see I've got 12:17 to 13:13, okay, which is fine. So this zone, 11:30 to 12:30 to, let's say 12:30 to 1:15, or 12:20 to 1:15, these are the hours I'm going to look out for, and I can integrate them here as well. And because there is going to be these hours, I will integrate these periods. Okay, so that's already over, trap like reversal. 9:30 to 10:45. Now let's take a look at 9:30. Okay, this is 9:30. Look, 9:30 is here. So I'm just going to do this 9:30 business. 9:30 is right there. It's 10:02 my time, so that's 9:30. There are too many lines, I understand, but just bear with me, all right? It looks crazy, but it's not. It's very, very logical. With me, everything is pure logic and maths. And then I've got, from that period onwards, 10:45. So I need to be careful into 10:45. Now look what's happening here. After 10:45, after this tricky zone is over, look what's coming up. 11:25. And on the overall hours, 12:15 to 1:15. So 11:25 is going to be, let's do this, 11:25, let's call it 11:30, is going to hook up with these, and there's bound to be a trade in this zone. All right. If you took timing from me, you can see if that's going to be a strong one or a weak one. But if you haven't, because there are many members the majority of the members haven't taken a course from me at all, and that's perfectly fine, because the cycle edge, you just have to understand that that's a tricky zone. You can stay out of the trade, no problem, and you can then wait, because once the mucking around, the trapping and all this volatility is over, you're going to get a setup, and that setup is going to be between the hours, that euro dollar, specific hours for the euro dollar in the cycle edge, plus the overall hours I'm giving in the website members area, are gonna interact. It's going to be a period, and you're going to say, okay, this is the time we've got to trade. So what's my setup? All right, and you can do whatever your technical analysis setup is. You don't have to trade like I do. Many people trade differently, right? Just like our faces are different, we see the world differently. So you'll see the market differently. But if you understand that those are the hours, and the hours are fixed for everybody, it's not going to change, okay? But your style might change, but the hours are not. So understanding that, you can box it in. I've made a video on boxing the price. And then if you're using the time, space, and motion indicator, then you've got price. For example, on the 15-minute chart, if the market comes back down here, that's 29. As you can see here, I've got 29. That's 14.31.7 on the price. So I can now bring this to 14.30, was it 14.31, which is exactly there. You can see that is the opening closing price where Asia bought. Okay, I hope that makes sense. Okay, so from here, can we chuck a U again? Because there's two things you're going to do there. It's either going to break down or it's going to go up. All you have to do is box it correctly. Okay, so don't worry about this is looking like a mess. The reason it's looking like a mess is because I'm looking at my trend line indicator as well. This is my price trend line indicator. I don't need to have this on. Okay, why? Because I already have a bunch of targets up here, but the trend line indicator will be specific. It'll say, listen, if I break this trend line, I want to go there. If I break this support line, I want to go there. So if it breaks the support line, and if it has a probability of going down to yesterday's opening, closing, and the low of yesterday, then I'm thinking to myself, whoa, wait a minute, there's a target down here. It could stop, sweep, and keep going up, or we're going to break this. You see what I mean? So these levels then become for you a place where you check if they're doing a stop sweep. How are you going to know if it's going to be a stop sweep or a crash? You won't know if you don't have cycle edge, because cycle edge will tell you at those periods if there is something going on, because not every day there's something going on, right? It'll say, look, flash breakout volatility. All right, so if something's going to break out, it's going to happen between 18:20, 18:15 and 21:10, right? So that's between 6:15 and 9:10. My hours, you convert that to your hours. Remember, I'm in Istanbul time zone. If it breaks out, it's going to be in that period. So in that period, it's your trading zone. Okay, you can follow the flash breakout volatility, follow the direction of the breakout, take the money and run. Okay, it's a Friday, so it's a good opportunity to scalp, but you have to do it obviously with your technical analysis setup, because time and price, we need to be together. This is why I always keep, you know, the opening price, the closing price, the low off yesterday, because these are levels the market likes to sweep. Same with the weekly, and that's it. Other than that, you don't have to do anything. In fact, I can take this, my trend line indicator, as you can see, it's the trend line indicator, out of the game, no problem. Or I can take this out of the game as well. This is a demand supply line there, and that's all. So you don't have to really worry about it. And then that's it. On the daily, same kind of thing. Now look at what's going on here. Today's the first target was, if you take a look, is that 40, is it 8 or 6? I think it's 48, right? So 48, yep, 48.95, and that was a price of 14.43. So I needed to be careful at 14.43. Guys, this is 14.43, and that was the first place to be careful at. All right, and as you can see, that's the first place. The market immediately stalled, okay, and then bang, it went up. Now, if you were here, right, and you knew that you had hours coming up here, what would you do? Just let it run into the hours. Just let it run into the hours. Because if the market took off from one trading hour, we have a breakout, okay, and then the target breaks out too, let it run. All you have to do is just manage the trade. This is why knowing what's going to happen in advance is the only way to trade properly. All right? People still think I'm nuts, and they still tell me this is impossible to do, and it's a joke. They don't even believe what they see. All right. And this report is, like I said, I gave this report on the 3rd or the 4th of July or something like. It was before. It was like in the last week of the previous months up to 3rd of July. I gave you guys before. So from the beginning of June to the 3rd of July, I gave the previous month. And in July, I did say we are like moving into the cycle edge report, and you can see how much more information, valuable information, not just fluff, giving us time periods, what to look out for, what days to trade, what the day is likely going to be. What, I mean, who gives you a highly likely gain day? Okay, high, we're going to close high today. How do you know? I just know. Okay, and it's not just I just know, it's maths. So it's done it on 2 days in a row. Remember the Bitcoin shock days. Remember we had 3 days shock days for Bitcoin. Remember how bang, 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 3 days in a row, it just fell down and everyone's like shocked because it was a shock day. So knowing these days in advance is obviously like, you know, just giving us a heads up. Those are the days. So here you can also select your trading period, and you can see this looks hot. So if anything's going to happen, this is the zone, and we're expecting a flash breakout volatility. Look, trend exhaustion, institutional correction at 11.25. Who gives such an explanation? Look at this. Speculative expansion, liquidity injection from 6 to 11. Liquidity injection. Look at that. 6 o'clock is right there. Market starts to pull down into, it's 10 past 10 now, into 11 o'clock. 10:45. This is your 11:30, so 11's around there. Nice and easy. Okay, so all of these comments, okay, are telling you in advance the market's going to do something. Trend exhaustion by 11:25. So if you want to trade at 11:25, it's going to be between 11 and 12. It's giving you an 11:23. Remember yesterday, euro dollar gave you a time. Also, I said, look guys, it's 2:25. Okay, so we have a big period. But look at here. Look at here, from 12:30 to 4:15, momentum push continuation. Look at yesterday's video if you haven't. Okay, and then I said, guys, when are you going to trade that? At 14.25. That's a euro dollar specific hour. 14.25 yesterday. Let's take a look. 14.25. The market never came lower than that. That's it. Okay, market takes off, does a volatility, comes back, another trade hour, push to the upside. Trade hour Asia session just shoots, boom, end of story. And now we've got a trap zone and then an exhaustion zone. Let's see how the hours work out. All you have to do is just follow the report. Okay, so some of you have asked for extra videos on how to evaluate the report, and that's fair enough. I'm going to get to that, but just following up from yesterday is already, you can see how relaxed trading it is. The hours in advance. I mean, who does that? Telling you specific hours, what the market's highly likely going to do, and then if the market does what I said it would do, then you got your setup after that trap zone at these hours. I mean, this is the best way to trade. There is no other way to trade, in my opinion. And this is the relaxed way to trade. Minimum risk, maximum return, because you know the setup, and if it doesn't go in your direction, your stop loss is tight. Even with covering the trade, most of your trades should cover themselves. They should take the stop loss amount of stop loss level, take profit if you keep them tight. So if you have like, sometimes I say, guys, use a 1 bar stop loss, okay? Unless you're targeting to a distance, then the 1-to-1 is going to cover your stop loss. The second trade, you can just let it run until kingdom come. Even if it doesn't go in your direction, it should still go like 1-to-3, 1-to-4 if you just follow through, and then you can take it on. So same here. And now that we've got the time, space, and motion indicator, this is just absolutely awesome. Absolutely awesome. So that's how it is, guys. It's giving me a value, and then it's giving me a price. It's bingo. Right, just go with it. If it breaks out, then where we're going to get to. If it breaks out on the daily, look what we've got. Target 69. We'll snap for a price 1577. So we'll see how it goes. Because it's a drain day, we have to be careful, because it might be exhausted after these pushes, right? So the market's done the pushes, and it might do another push, and it might be drained, and it might break the other way. But if you already know that, you can say, well, wait a minute, let's take some profit, push the stop up. If it starts going sideways, we're either going to break up or down. Let's box it in, go in the direction of the breakout, because we know if it pushes, what hour we're going to get to. And because it's going to be a breakout, and it's telling you it's going to be volatile, right? Let's take a look. Again. Push, momentum, push, continuation. That's Thursday. Today, breakout volatility. 6:15 to 9, 10 past 9. It's giving you trap-like reversals. So you wouldn't muck around here unless you exactly know what you're doing. You understand it's a trap line. Trap time zone, and then you got 9:30 to 10:45, and if it's your trading hours, you'd get out, and then you're waiting for it. Wait for those trap hours to end, and then let's see how things pan out. And you see how it's settling in with the technical analysis. This is called a goodbye kiss. The goodbye kiss happened here at the trading hour. Look. This is a trading hour, so the market immediately picks up. Trading hour, trading hour. So we're either going to go this way, or this is going to say, okay, you know what, we're going to sell off even more. But what is determining today is going to be this zone from 11:25. Okay, then we've got lunch period, and then that's going to be also another trigger, bullish recovery, steady growth phase. Right? So we could be in a bullish recovery there and just get out in that period. Why? Because, well, it says this is going to be like 2 hours. If you want to enter the trade, we're expecting the push to happen around 5:52. That's specific to the minute. I used to have minutes before, but I always round them up so it's clean. Okay, otherwise people start, you know, looking at minutes. But I've done the cycle edge pretty much to the minutes, as you can see. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to get any better than this. There's always room for improvement, but that's it. The important thing also is, like I said, good news is this. Now look, if TSM, previously it was called that, TSM breaks out, okay, look at the targets I've got. 75, target of 1465. Okay, so I can go all the way into 1465, which matches pretty much the last target and even higher. So knowing these things, you can just let the trade run. You could do whatever you want with the trade. You can wait for the trap zone to be over and then just enter then, or within the trap zone check the hour. Cycle edge is saying is not a bad hour. If it matches your technical analysis, say, you know what, it does. Then put a tight stop loss. Let's do it, because if the hour is right, it should work. So you don't have to put a huge stop loss unless you're, you know, swing trading or something. Okay, because like I did, I've got a long target ahead. So this push up from today was enough to take 1 to 2 profit, and then I've moved the stop further to the low of today. As you can see, yesterday it was below the low of yesterday. Today it's the low of today. So I'm just gonna keep pushing and following through, and the stop loss is going to go accordingly. Obviously, if around here we start to break down, then obviously I'll say, okay, so maybe we are getting drained out, as the cycle edge report says. We're getting drained out a little bit early, and that's it. If the market goes up again and it can't break out and it falls back down again, then I'm going to say, okay, you know, maybe we'll just take the profit. It's Friday, let's call it a day. Made money and let it go. That's just it, guys. I'm going to do TSM videos, how to use them, how to use the TSM indicator, and then I will make them available as well. There's just one more thing I want to make available. Some of you using volume trading, I've done that as well. As you know, if you've been, like some of you know me for many years, I started volume trading like 2013, 14, and I had my indicators done then for the MT4 around that time. So it's like been for many years. Now I've got everything done for MT5. It's going to be available on the MetaQuotes website as well. So anybody who's in the membership for Global Trader Club, then you can, you know, use those indicators as well if you want, and match it to your time if it's going to help you out. But seriously, this is really amazing, because it also gives me a weekly target. If it does the weekly target, you can see that's 44, and that's a price of, like I said, 15. So if it does go up, it wants to go there. Because this is weekly, it can take multiple weeks. So next week we also want to be hitting that, and that line is going to be slightly higher, and it's going to be above the 15 level. Right? So very useful indicator. Have a great weekend. I hope everything's going well, and take care.